Wonderful. So welcome everyone, and thank you so much for the opportunity to share my work with my company Sociavi. And Sociavi is a Latin word that means share and unite, and really represents the mission of my company to help older adults and anyone with some kind of disability to be connected and engaged with their loved ones, independent of the distance, and making it extremely simple for them to use technology. My focus is really on the persons for whom mainstream technology is not really a suitable option, and that's why I'm focusing on older adults and people living with dementia. And in the years that I've been working here, I realized that there are a lot of factors, and I separate those factors in four that you will see in the presentation. And all the work that I do, I try to be mindful of those four aspects that I identify as critical, as sometimes barriers for them to use mainstream technology. So what is the outline of this presentation? The challenges with mainstream technology, what Sociavi has done, and lastly, I want to share the latest work that we have been doing in really advancing the care journey in aging adults through our dynamic care plan. So what are the challenges with mainstream technology? And maybe before I start, if someone would like to share how they have experienced with their aging parents or aging relatives. We had this very extreme period that probably is still lingering with us of COVID. So if someone would like to unmute themselves and just share with us a little bit of their experience, it will be very helpful.
I wanted to just share, not just for people who are aging, but my cousin who is paralyzed and couldn't leave the house and is isolated and has very limited use of he can't walk at the moment. For the past 3 years, he's been having problems with bed wounds, so he can't even get out of the bed and sit in a chair properly. So it's difficult for him to interact with his computer or the interfaces that he had. And recently I began interacting with him with Zoom, and it just brought such joy to him to be able to see me and talk with me and use that opportunity to interact with someone when he's trapped in a house and isolated and lonely. So I think those things we can't underestimate the importance of addressing these social needs that people have when they have some kind of disability or aging, or they're far away from their family and friends.
And thank you, Kit, for sharing that, because the U.S. Surgeon General have identified loneliness and isolation as an epidemic of extreme connotation that affects all levels of socioeconomic areas, and aging adults and other populations are particularly affected by this epidemic of loneliness and isolation. So that was also one of the reasons why I focus on this topic. So
contribute something here.
Please.
Ataxia is a genetic disorder that if both parents have it, usually the children get it. And it sometimes mainly shows up around high school. And what happens is it starts shutting down certain neurological functions. For example, you won't be able to squeeze your hand. Your voice sometimes gets garbled and everybody has trouble understanding you. So I tried to use voice control to this second cousin of mine's child, Linda. I gave her voice control with the Mac, but the Mac could not understand her. I mean, it's not just me, but other people having trouble. She's losing the control of her tongue. So I thought, well, that eliminates that. What about hitting a mouse twice? Well, she's losing control of her hand and she can only use her pinky like on an iPhone, but it's very difficult for her to hit a mouse twice in a row to bring up things on the screen. So that eliminates Windows 10 and also Macs. So the phone works okay, you know, like an iPhone or one of the other phones. She seems to be able to handle that, and that's the only way that she can communicate with the outside world, because she has a full-time aide that comes in and they cook for them, and a brother has the same problem, but not as bad as her, and also puts them to bed at night. There's a lot of handicapped things out there that are real problems. I don't know how you can handle stuff like that, but dementia, their father died of a dementia. I used to double date with them before they got married. And when I went to see him, I didn't realize how bad he was. I said, Walter, you know who I am? No emotion, nothing. He didn't know a thing. And he was a very intelligent person, was a manager on his job. So I think if we can make any progress at all with people going towards dementia, or I'm going to be 85. I don't seem to have a problem with computers and things like that. I have 3 engineering degrees and I worked on a lot of complex stuff. So, but I'm starting to realize I'm forgetting my mathematics. When I try to learn like robotics, I'm having trouble, you know, remembering things like I used to. So anyway, this is a good idea.
Thank
think it's
you. Thank you
really,
so much for sharing all of that. Please, Kate.
yes, I'm really grateful that you shared this story because we are trying to put together these stories so we can understand use cases of these, humanitarian needs and how diverse these needs might be and how challenging it might be and how we can plan technology that leverages things that someone else knows about that we can help other people know about, right? So if we can infer that someone who has Duchenne's or who has ataxia or who has the kinds of conditions that maybe they don't even know what the name of it is, but there's some kind of a need that they have, and we can infer the same way people like Google can infer what you like based on what you typed in your email. They can do these analysis of the text that you presented, and they can understand what groups you belong to and what interests you have, and they can find things. We're interested in seeing how to leverage those types of technologies to find good solutions that help people who have disabling conditions, because it's not like there's a lot of people with the need that you have, but there's certainly people who have that need. And if we can understand it better and share the solutions across people that don't know each other, but the system can know what this thing is and how to make a recommendation, that would be fantastic. And I know you guys understand what I'm speaking about here because you're engineers, so you understand this whole idea of inferring things rather than having to use like rules. Like now we have Americans with Disabilities Act. We have people telling you, you must build this way, you must build this way. It doesn't always cover everybody's situation. Like you were saying, using a speech interface doesn't help if your speech doesn't fall within the parameters of that speech engine.
Well, I
And
just noticed your dexterity with a button. Instead of using the mouse, if you had a button on the screen, they might be able to use that. I mean, that's an idea. Every person with a handicap has a little different things they can do. And it's not just one thing. There's so many different variations of people not being able to do certain things like we can do.
yeah, and
For
Paula has spent
example,
her
I have
life doing
problems
this.
hearing, And my hearing is, I used to fly in helicopters, work for the subway, walk the tunnels with loud trains. And all of a sudden last year, even with hearing aids, I can't understand what they're saying on television. So I had to put up closed captioning. But Catherine, your voice for some reason is not the best one for me to hear, although poor as I can. I lost the high frequencies for women and children, not all of it, but it's a problem for me listening to Zoom conferences. Some of the others are much better, you know, different.
I grew up in a family
Like
filled with
WebEx
deaf
is usually
people.
clearer, but
Yeah.
anyway.
I grew up in a family filled with deaf people, and I understand what you're saying with this voice, you know, my voice. We, in our family, we can't recognize who it is that's speaking. That's the kind of hearing loss we have. We've lost that high frequency like you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so everyone sounds the same to us. We can't tell who they are when they're speaking. And that's something other people don't experience. And we didn't know that. We just thought that's the way everybody was because in our family, everybody's like that. So Paula, please take the
Sure,
reins.
thank you. So,
Sure.
like I was mentioning at the beginning, I categorize these challenges in 4 areas: vision, hearing, dexterity, and cognition. And let's start with vision. So we all know that as we age, our eyes are not responsive as when we were younger. I mean, we need to use glasses because our lenses are not adjusting like they used to do. Presbyopia is the gradual loss of your eyes' ability to focus on nearby objects. Then there are other diseases like cataracts, glaucoma, macular degeneration, and diabetic retinopathy that may cause blurred vision, slow adjustment to light, reduced peripheral vision, a decline in the ability to process distance and three-dimensional objects. There are other syndromes like the Charles-Bonnet, who is, you may have some type of hallucination, look at different patterns, and it can be very dramatic, the imagery that you will see, but the person know that this is not dementia because all of a sudden this phenomenon may appear in the morning, and then as the day goes by, they are able to adjust, and this hallucination disappears.
You know, interesting enough, I have all 3, glaucoma, macula, and cataracts on both eyes. And I have a very good dermatologist. She said that if I do the cataracts, it'll help me with my other problems. And lo and behold, I was wearing eyeglasses since high school. She did the cataracts and she wouldn't guarantee how it would come out. Should it came out better than she thought. I could see 20/25 without glasses. I need reading glasses. I have a little trouble reading at times, but I don't need them to drive. She did an amazing job, and I have to get injections every 12 weeks of Aaliyah for the macula because I'm losing the light, and she saved my eyesight.
That's wonderful.
You know, it's amazing what they can do if you get the right doctor.
That's correct. I mean, technology.
So I'm able to look at the computer right now without any glasses if I sit back. And that is a problem for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Loss of vision. But now the other situation with vision is that changes in the brain due to dementia, and it's not that there is a problem with the eyes, but it's how the brain processes visual information can be also affect our vision. There are less sensitivity to variation in the contrast between objects and background, diminished ability to detect movement, reduced ability to see different colors, problem directed on shifting gaze, problem with recognizing things and faces, and reduced sensitivity to depth perception. So it's important to understand that dementia is not only loss of memory, it affects all portion of the brain. So if you've all of a sudden noticed that someone or yourself are having more problems driving and especially reading the car, and you notice that there are some bumps in the car, or if you are falling because you are not seeing properly the depth perception, those may be early signs, early warnings of dementia, because as I mentioned, dementia is not only loss of memory, but it also affects other portions of the brain. Now we can see here affecting vision. Now hearing is a serious situation with older adults, and the statistics are really remarkable. 1 in 3 persons aged 65 to 74 has hearing loss in the US. And about 50% of those Americans 75 and older have some difficulty hearing. So it's quite prevalent hearing difficulties. Now with dexterity, you were mentioning that we have issues with basically touch accuracy, even for different situations. I mean, all those gestures that are so common in traditional tablets or iPads, like tap, scroll, swipe, flick, drag, pinch, zoom, are just too cumbersome for some older adults. There is a study in the UK that tells that 5.6 million people over 65 years old find the traditional functionality of this touch screen is very difficult to use, either because they have a dry or thick skin. So we have a technical problem that the technology that allows those devices to identify where you are pointing, well, the skin of some older people does not conduct the electricity in the same way that younger people skin conduct that electricity. So therefore, those devices are just not responding well enough to some older adults. There are other barriers like motor skills that you were mentioning, that you're not able to double tap. That concept is newer. So physical coordination, there are some diseases like multiple sclerosis, Parkinson, arthritis, and lastly, because cognitive decline and your inability to sequence and basically touch accuracy and executive function, and also, like we were seeing before, visual spatial difficulties, those complex and gestures that are so common are very difficult for some older adults, for all the situations that I was describing. And lastly, cognition is, as we get older, it's normal that we are getting a little bit more forgetful. I mean, our hair changes, right? Our vision changes. We're not as strong as we were young with 20 or even younger ages, but it may become that it's not just the normal process of aging, but it's really a cognitive impairment what is happening. And in those cases, learning to sequence of action that are many times required for technology is very, very difficult. Also, like we were seeing before, because there is a reduced visual spatial and executive function, may be very hard sometimes to operate an iPad, an iPhone, or a tablet. And limited memory and attention also contribute to these barriers. So what can we do? We have to solve this problem, right? We have to think differently. We need to not think hard and just look at what adaptations can we do. And what I decided to do is really move and look for simplicity, reduce functionality in light of making it accessible for older adults because of all the conditions that I was mentioning. So in the case of vision, well, let's use bigger size, higher contrast, and simplicity in the functionality. When we're talking about hearing, well, probably we're not going to solve the problems completely for 100% hearing loss, but we can increase the volume and make it louder. For dexterity, well, let's not think about double tap or flick or zoom. Just look at simple touch, just touch on the screen on a very large area that doesn't require a touch accuracy. Let's remove the keyboard. Let's remove all those complex gestures. And when needed, let the people use just a simple stylus. That is something that if you are only responding to touch, and a stylus work very well. And in terms of how to address cognition, well, let's go for simplicity. Let's remove those complicated login and multi-factor authentication, and let's make it just a single purpose device. Let's not incorporate all these multiple apps and very complex screen presentation. Let's go with one functionality at a time. And that's how I designed my product Sociavi, to be a single purpose dedicated device that make it very simple for older adults to maintain communication and companionship, even when they may have lost the ability to actively reach out for others due to dementia or normal aging. And with that, we're able to give peace of mind to the ones who care for them. So the idea of Sociavi is the older adult, as you see on the bottom left side, is just a dedicated device that looks like a picture frame, standalone, hands-free, and is always connected, always on, and it doesn't require username, password, and it's ready to use. On the other hand, the families are the ones that have to do most of the work. They are the ones that know how to use a smartphone and an app. So they install an app in their smartphone, and from the app, they can stay in touch with their loved one, the aging adult, no matter where they are in the world, sending them pictures, videos, reminders, alerts, but also have those video visits. And the older adult doesn't have to do anything, no login, no password, no app to start, just the family touches a button on the app and their faces immediately show up on the screen. So in that case, the older adult doesn't have to understand any sequence of a step in order that they can stay connected with their loved ones. So as I was mentioning, you have a calendar, you have the reminders, you have always a slideshow of pictures of the pictures that the family send, and the video visit that the family can do. So very simple, an app for the families, and a dedicated device and a screen that is always on for the older adult to just have and engage and basically very simple stay in touch with their loved ones. Now, through the years, I learned from senior living settings how prevalent is dementia in the aging adult population. And therefore, I start thinking, so what else can I incorporate into this device that will allow them to still be connected, engaged, and basically do activities that are stimulating, but at the same time soothing and frustration-free for them. So that's how I developed a series of activities that I call brain fitness, because they really try to stimulate different different attention, different portion of the brain in order that they can still be engaged. And as I said, age and gender appropriate and also frustration free. And we incorporated through the years more traditional activities like jigsaw puzzles, solitaire, word search. Now, lastly, I also learned that in many cases, like for example, in the case of your relative, that communication can be very cumbersome. People lose their capability either because of a brain injury or a stroke, and they cannot express themselves verbally. So that's why I developed a very simple, what I call a communication board, where they can point to different icons, and that icon is going to pop up on the screen. and it allows them to express how they feel, what they want, what they need to the person next to them. So if they need their glasses, if they need water, they just point to the respective icon to communicate that.
You know, somebody with dementia won't know what button to hit, you know, in a certain point, right? They're not going to remember which one to hit to get up what screen. I don't know how you get around that.
Well, in many cases, many of these operations, we can also control the screen remotely from the companion app. So the families can present to them remotely from the companion app what screen to choose. So we have evolved through the years, and it's true. This device with all these capabilities, it really covers a big spectrum from probably no dementia at all, but difficulty a little bit with technology, to mild cognitive impairment where you really have to simplify the functionality, to initial stages of dementia, and then you may need a little bit more of prompting from some family member or an aide, and so you have a scale. This device is for certain not self-contained, where you are more advanced on the stages of dementia, that's for sure. But still, you can take benefit of the device just by looking at the pictures, looking at the videos that we present to you, and helping you calm down and be in a more soothing and peaceful state. So if I may continue, really we have been moving. Is there any question? So we have been moving along, adding functionality, and really we are categorizing our functionality in those 5 different areas. One is with all the cognitive, physical, and other health and wellness tools that we can provide. We can also provide health and wellness education. So, and this really, as I mentioned before, it doesn't mean that everything is going to be applied to someone that is advanced in their disease, but it can be useful at the early stages or at the mid stages, and also for other conditions. So if we have an older adult with diabetes or high blood pressure, well, we can help them with our medication and reminders, with our with the videos and infographic that we can push to the device, and also we call virtual social therapy our video conference, because really it's the opportunity to interact for support, companionship, and really have a positive impact of socialization. And lastly, we are gathering the information of all the interaction that these older adults are having with the device, in order that we can gather user insights and be able to start planning a dynamic care plan. And let me give you just some example. If we know that an older adult regularly is doing the word search, and in let's say 16 words word search, he or she is usually spending 5 minutes. But all of a sudden, the trends that we are analyzing indicate that that person is spending twice as long. Well, we can, that will be a reason of a concern. So it allows us to start reviewing and see, is that because of a medication, a medication side effect? It's because there is some new situation that have emerged. It may be that they are losing concentration because they're not drinking enough, or it may be, so this allows us to be proactive, and before it becomes a serious situation, we can analyze and review what are the things that may be causing this loss of attention since and any change that we can observe. So just to be more specific, let's consider the baseline of a person that has an early dementia. It has obesity, depression. This person is not following properly the medication, is not sleeping properly, then has poor eating habits, is feeling lonely and isolation. Many families all over the world are very distributed, so the capabilities, the opportunities to interact with older adults, if it is not through technology, it can be very cumbersome. So how can we? So this is the issue that we're trying to address, and then lack of motivation, and we observe that they are not walking too much. So we can develop a care plan that consider 2 medications reminder to the Sociavi device, healthy physical activity. So we incorporate exercise reminders. We incorporate also activities of the brain fitness reminders. We can incorporate the presentation of right before lunch of a video showing them healthy choices for lunch that they can follow. For checking their sleep quality, we can ask them in the morning, how did you sleep last night? And then can very easily, with the touch of a button on the screen, respond to those questions. And then to address loneliness and isolation, let's engage with the family through this very simple to use video chat. And then to check on their mood, we ask them again, how was your day? So in that case, the resulting daily plan can look like that, like you see here, and then we monitor how this person is responding, how they are basically being more adherence with their medication or not, and basically how they are responding through all the metrics that we are gathering. So since it appears, for example, that this person is not drinking enough fluid, because we notice that he's spending more time, like I was saying before, in some of the activities. Well, we're going to incorporate more fluid intake reminders. And if we, in order to help him sleep better, well, at night we're going to try to put a very calming and soothing video that will allow him to motivate it and calm him down in order that he can go to sleep. And to brighten his mood in the morning, if he responds to any of those, how are you feeling today? Well, we know that this person loves dogs, so why don't we present them a video automatically of something that he likes, and I will put his mind at ease and a smile on his face. So through this simple interaction of videos, questions, reminders, we are able to manage a little bit their mood and make it more, basically improve the quality of life with no pharmacological interventions, just by being actively checking on their state, on their mood, actively just pushing a little bit with the reminders that sometimes in the early stages of dementia is all what they need. They don't, just a reminder will be enough for them to move and don't forget to do the thing, and that helps them to become more compliant with their medication, do the exercises that they need, and at the end sleep better and have a better quality of life. So with these changes, the care plan will look something like that. And then as the time progresses and if with these changes, we're going to adapt this plan one more time. And the families have also an opportunity to modify those plans through alerts. And then if they want, they can get push notification. For example, if they are concerned about how the father or the mom slept last night, well, based on the answer that they they provide through the device, they will get an alert, the respective alert on their smartphone. So what I wanted to share with you are real examples of users of Sociavi for you to see to see that in action. So please, if you don't mind, I'm going to stop sharing this window and move to another one. If there is any question, Kid, that I didn't see on the chat, please let me know.
There were questions about sharing the slides, and I suggested we could make a YouTube video of the slides and post it on our playlist, as well as on the IEEE Humanitarian Technology Taenzer page, which will be a repository for all of the webinars and any other materials that people would like to share with the audience.
Great, thank you. So what I wanted to share with you is that this particular program is called Reading to Connect, and I just came back today from Hershey, Pennsylvania. I was in a conference for librarians, and the situation is that we believe, well, not we believe, it very often there is the assumption that person with dementia cannot read, and that is actually not true. It may be in some instances when the disease is very advanced, but there are early stages where they still can read, they can still enjoy reading, but a long text, a novel, a small print, it just makes it too frustrating for them to read, and then they give up. However, if you design this book with the proper content, with the right fonts, with the right size of the font, with an engaging image, well, they really enjoy and they still have this curiosity and eagerness to be stimulated through reading. Now, the Reading to Connect is a program that the entrepreneur of this company, she created paper and with a very special and very robust paper books that the persons can hold on their hands. But we decided to incorporate the same content of those books into the Sociavi device with an audio narrator. And this is what we're presenting to Warren, who is 97 years old and has been diagnosed with dementia. And I hope you can you hear my audio, or? Let me just stop sharing. I'm sorry about this, to make sure that they. Yeah.
Is often called America's pastime. And page 2 is going to be about Jackie Robinson, the great Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson's baseball skills included his stellar ability to hit, field, and run. He was one of the fastest players in the majors.
To this day, every year on April 15th, every major league player played wears Jackie Robinson number 42. To further recognize Robinson's great accomplishments, Major League Baseball declared that no player will ever wear number 42 signs. That's it.
Baseball.
So even though Warren you can see that he's still engaged in the reading, and he was able to read and sort of react to that story. Now I want to show you, can you still see my screen?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So here is how a video visit looks like from with Adeline having the Sociavi device with her granddaughter and great-granddaughter.
Oh, that's Christina?
Yeah.
And that's her little granddaughter?
This is Kinsley. Kinsley, your great-granddaughter. Kinsley, do you remember talking to great-grandma? Do you remember singing her some songs? Yeah, we can talk to her. Isn't she beautiful? She's such a beautiful great-grandma, isn't she?
Hi, sweetie. Hi, little sweetie.
What songs were we singing?
Jingle bells.
Jingle bells. Can you sing Jingle Bells? Maybe great-grandma can sing with you.
Jingle bells, jingle bells.
See, she's singing it. Jingle all the way. Can we ring our bells? Oh, we're ringing our bells. Grandma, can you ring your bell? See, she's ringing her bell too. Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way.
Oh, what fun it is to
ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Mir, do you have any other songs?
No.
Should we?
So, other thing that I wanted to share with you is they can also have through their device virtual music therapy, and this is one session that Adele is doing with a music therapist, Tara.
How are you today?
Oh, lazy. I mean, I'm just sitting around.
Well, how about we sing a song? Would that be all right?
That sounds good.
All right, this little light. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Very nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for singing with me.
And lastly, I wanted to show you a little bit of Adeline using the device for a word search. And again, we make it very simple for them to use.
Oh, here it is. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Then you're looking for learn. Maybe we can set this on your lap. Maybe. So the second word is you found love.
We
so
just had love. Oh, okay. Learn. L-E-A.
just do is
There.
there.
Okay. Where that's at. Aunt. A-U-N-T.
And this is the first time that Adeline is using a computer. She never used well, this is not a computer per se, but really was very good how she was able to, even though she has a little bit of a tremor, she still was motivated to really make the effort and go through the activity. So these are and we have many activities that range from very simple to more complex, and the whole purpose is to stimulate, engage, and have something meaningful to do. And you see sometimes they may need some prompting, but the idea is that they have the opportunity to do something that will give them joy, and it will give them the sense of satisfaction, despite the difficulties they may have. So this is what I wanted to share with you, and if you have any question, please, I'm happy to answer.
Well, I like the last part where you bring in voice. I think it would be good if the computer you can talk to the computer, and also the computer can talk back. That would help.
Yes, that is something that we're very very actively investigated, but also very we're taking the time to make it right, because on one hand we have the issue of privacy, that we don't want to just listen, being always in listening mode. That is a concern of many families. And the other thing that we're very concerned at and not responding to prompts that are inadequate. So if you have someone living with dementia, and all of a sudden you start hearing voices and you don't know from where they're coming from, they're going to get extremely confused, and that may cause agitation. So anything that is going to disrupt the environment in that way, we're very careful that it doesn't happen. And so that's why we haven't implemented the technology with voice activation as of yet, because we haven't found the appropriate solution for this particular population.
Another
Go ahead.
Another example would be there's a reminder on the phone, but it doesn't talk to you to remind you. For example, it told me that this conference was coming on my iPhone, but it doesn't say anything. You got to go and open it and look at all the reminders to find that one. So that would be a good idea.
Thank you, Charles.
Nirja, did you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, so Paula, you showed that one elderly person talking to the great-granddaughter, right? Like a
Yes.
video.
Yes.
So basically, the device has an interface which can be connected to the phone, or how does it work?
So basically, everything is running through a closed, secure, and private network. And basically, the family members are the ones that install an app in their smartphone. And then as soon as they are able to, as soon as the family press a button on the app, they immediately show up on the screen of their loved ones. So the loved ones doesn't have to touch anything on the screen, and they just start talking. So there's no button that they have to acknowledge in order to be able to interact with the screen, to interact with the video call. I hope that answered your question, Nirja.
Yeah. I'm just thinking for my parents in India, and I'm
Yes, thank
thinking
you.
if it can work for them, or is it an app
Absolutely.
available for anywhere, right?
Yes, it's available for anywhere. The only requirement is to have power and internet.
Right.
This run over the internet. So and this device is being deployed in Europe and Canada and South America, beside the US.
Okay, thank you. And your the website has more information on this?
Yes.
Okay.
still opportunity for improvement on of the website,
Yeah,
but it's
right.
sociavi.com. Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Very,
you.
very impressive. Thank you.
Thank you.
I noticed we had a few additional people join us. And we have another person who'd like to give a presentation in our topic soon. Oh, Alyssa, do you have a comment?
Hi, Catherine. Hi, Paula. Thank you for the engaging presentation.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, I mean, if you want to connect with me, I would love to speak more with you. That would be wonderful.
Sure, absolutely.
So, I don't know, Kit, if you could share
Yes,
my
I'm
contact
gonna
information
copy.
with Chitra,
Yes,
that
I'm
would be
gonna
wonderful. I
I'm
would
gonna
love to
copy you
connect.
right now, Paula. I have Paula. I've got Paula. I've got DeRay. Okay, I will send this right now. Sincerely, Kit.
I love it. The problem is so complex and
Yeah.
immense. It takes a village to, for all of us to collaborate and
Absolutely, absolutely.
make living with dementia a bit easier. I call it living well with dementia. How do we make sure?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yes, and I'm very, even though it's difficult, there is still hope. And actually, I've interviewed so many family members and people living with dementia, and the most beautiful thing that I heard just recently was a son whose father is living with dementia, with Alzheimer's, but he had found a way of interacting with him. And he told me, my father, he has rediscovered art. Now he paints beautifully. He spent hours painting. He doesn't remember what he has for breakfast, but he just paint and engage. And then when he has a good moment, he told him, I know we were in San Francisco, and I know we had a heck of a good time. I do not know where we were, but that doesn't matter. And that's all what the son needs, to know that his father is feeling safe, even though he cannot remember. And still you can enjoy and have beautiful moments. So there is hope. It's all about how we can live with the disease and accept the disease and find the things that we can still experience together, because not everything is lost. We lose the rational thinking, but we don't lose the way how we feel. And if we can make that the way that we feel preserved in a positive, with engagement, with the stimulation, with things that are frustration free, we can still have a good quality of life living with dementia.
One thing that I've noticed that has changed because of your interface and the way you approach your solutions, I think even the workplace, the people who work in the workplace, the people who are the family members, don't have to overcome obstacles to use the system either.
That's correct too.
And in the old days, many of these tools went unused for people. Any of the accommodation tools like the Prinky Romich Liberator, many people who are therapists would have a very big challenge learning the tool and setting it up for the person who needed the assistance. But in Paula's tools, they're obvious to anyone how to use them. And the features are easy to use, and not only for the person who is the person who needs the engagement, but also for all of the team around those people.
For the aides, absolutely.
For the care partners,
yes.
Professional or informal. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, that's correct one.
Yeah, so we've been advocating and evangelizing for what we call co-design with people with lived experiences. The lived experience could be one living with dementia. So I'm a two times caregiver for a person living with dementia, and I have lost both my parents to the condition. So I speak from very first-hand experience over a period of now 8+ years. So therefore we are, I'm part of Amicus Brain. I used to be at IBM Research because this is a second calling to me, really. Having seen my parents go through this, I wanted to make a change with technology. So I founded Amicus Brain to make a transformation in care management for dementia. So as part of that, I saw a lot of solutions which have been designed in the lab, in vacuum, not knowing how people live and how they reject, how they adopt in their daily lives. So therefore, we have been pushing and advocating for what we call co-design with people with lived experiences. And it could be care partners too. Because I was a care partner, I could actually build a solution that immediately resonated with all other caregivers across the globe, because I lived it daily, what it took to be a caregiver for dementia, for a person living with dementia. So I think, Paula, I think the design therefore comes across, very simple, which is the intuitive, it has to be, I call it, right? Intuitive design, that they don't have to go through a documentation, that they are drawn to it and they want to use it. So thank you for sharing.
And also at IEEE, it turns out there's accessibility is a big initiative at IEEE at headquarters and around many different organizations. They're all trying to become aware and engaged in accessibility. And it means different things to each of these organizations.
Yep.
But I ran across one yesterday that I was so pleased to meet. And that is, there's a group on accessibility that they have usability testing. So they have people who have whatever the condition is, who are on call to test new designs and to test interfaces. And IEEE keeps them engaged. So they're part of a pool of people, a resource that we can connect with. And I'm trying to say, yes, it's really cool. I mean, that's the most important thing, is to have, agile development, right? And if you don't have people to design things, even if you have the best designers or a few case stories and you don't have this feedback that you need to help, solidify your development, then it can go off course and it might miss the mark.
Oh, absolutely. Feedback is extremely important.
Many of the
Can I bring up the
nonprofits.
case? I'm alone in New York, but my grandchildren are in Florida. I don't know how to hook up a computer, how to do this. My suggestion is we get volunteers to go into the house. For example, could be IEEE, it could be firemen who have time. And of course, this senior will be afraid to let anybody in, so you got to identify yourself. They would hook it up for you. We've thought about this a little bit through the IEEE. Certain groups can go in and do it, maybe as they're leaving their shift. Maybe a policeman, he's going home, maybe he could stop on his way and help a senior hook up everything so he can talk to his grandchildren. Because for people who are forgetting things, it's not going to be that easy.
No,
that's a wonderful suggestion. Paula and I are engaged with the local high school, and we're going to try to trial an idea like that. They want to reach out to seniors in the community, and this is something we can suggest to them that we get started with. We've been thinking about it in some other model, just to have people talking to each other who are seniors and who are younger engineers who want to just speak about experiences, so that people are not lonely, so that they have someone who has similar engineering acumen to talk with from time to time, just to, be friends and buddies and so forth. But I think your idea is even more compelling. It's something that Paula and I can work with.
And Charles, I'm sorry, Charles, thank you so much for bringing that up, because that was also a concern of mine in the design. And this device one or two steps to set up. Everything is set already pre-configured. So we can even ship it to your house, and you only need to connect it to the power outlet if you have internet, and then it's going to boot immediately if we're able to pre-configure the Wi-Fi before we ship it to you. So that was also a very important concern, that there's no cumbersome setup. Everything is already pre-configured, and then the device, as soon as you put it in next to as soon as you connect it to the power outlet, there's no power button to push. It just boot on its own. So that was also a very important concern, that it was robust in the setting and robust in its operation.
Charles, can you share your email address with me in the chat, and I will connect you with Paula?
I want to thank Paula for bringing up these things. But I know not a lot of old people know anything about computers. They don't want to learn. I have neighbors that are calling me all the time to go over there and help them. And I try to do my best, you know. They even forget passwords. Even if it's written down, they forget where they put it. There's a lot of problems. Yeah. But Paula pointed out a lot of good things. Thank you, Paula.
Thank you very much for your words, Charles. Appreciate that very much coming from you. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Paula.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I appreciate that I was able to share this information with you.
Charles, will we be able to reach you? Will we be able to find you through the Long Island section?
What about the Long Island section? I'm in the Long Island section.
Can we reach you? Can we connect with you through the section?
I didn't understand what you said just now. I'm sorry.
So Kit is asking if it's possible to connect with you through the section.
Well, they don't do anything. They have a social implication of engineering as one of our groups that might fit in. I mean, if you go up IEEE.li for Long Island, you can see all the societies, and you get in touch with the chair for social implications of technology, and maybe we can get something started. But, you know, everybody's got several societies because we don't have enough volunteers. It's a problem. Mm. We're trying to get young people involved in colleges. And I've been given briefings at Stony Brook and other Farmingdale on different topics. And I'm finding out when I get done, they never get back to me. They don't join the IEEE for $16 a year or whatever. And we're not getting a lot of people to help us. You know, there's
Lonnie out there. Lonnie is quite active. She's wonderful. We
Lonnie, you know Lonnie?
Yeah,
I know her too. Yeah,
it's wonderful.
We ran a job fair online during the pandemic, and it turned out all right. But we had a lot of people sign up, but when we actually got there weren't that many that participated in it. So it was a lot of work just for a few people tying in. It looks like you got a fairly good number today, but we should get a lot more than what we have on there today. I don't know how you get that to happen.
We had a crazy crowd last week, right, Paula? That was a wild crowd, wasn't it, at our event last week?
The physical event in Hong
Yeah.
By the way, what I used to do, I knew a professor at Farmingdale, and she used to let us mentor students. Mm-hmm. And once a month, we had a room where we can bring in technical people to talk about topics. And I did give several presentations. For example, how does the automation of the New York City subway work? I brought somebody in to explain it.
What, Bobby?
And different things like that. I also talked about other topics that I brought in people on. For example, this was beyond some of the technical capabilities of some of the students at the colleges. How do you figure out how windmills are going to interfere with cell phones, airplanes? How do you do that? Who's that, Sam?
Yeah. Do you know Sam?
No, I don't, but I don't think I know him. There's just too many names to remember.
I just muted him.
So Sam, what do you do? You're in the IEEE in Long Island?
Sam?
Okay.
Sam, are you there? He's not answering.
I don't know what happened.
I don't know. Yeah, so there's certainly a transition from coming back from the pandemic. People have been used to being in the house and being virtual. And we've missed like 2 years solid of student engagement, I think, you know?
Yeah,
So,
well, we did lose some students because of that. They ended up graduating and got jobs full time. And we lost some good people. We were working on using encryption for electronic health records. And we were on our way to get that to work. And also, different techniques. And we were almost at the point, and then COVID hit. And also, we were working on a pollution of the water in Bethpage using advanced mathematics. And we had a couple good students, and of course, COVID hit and hurt that. So there's a lot of things that happen because of COVID. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But there is a meeting, there was this weekend on you can drive electric cars at Farmingdale College. If you're interested, they gave talks on electric cars this past week, Friday, I think it was. And I've gone and I've driven the cars. So if anybody's interested, that they have several of them going on in Long Island. And also they do it at Farmingdale once a year.
mhm.
So there's a lot of things going on if you want to look at where talks are being given in Long.
Yeah. What's cool is that we can find these calendars online, and there's a lot of talks that you can register for virtual. And I think that's really nice to keep our brain going and to keep
In fact, we had a micro mouse competition at New York Institute of Technology, which we're planning next year.
with Andrew Sass and with
And we brought the person who won the contest 44 years ago. He went to school in Hong Kong. He's known internationally. He came to the Long Island meeting and he explained that it's not as simple as you think. You got to work at it. You run your mouse through the maze or robot.
Yep.
But the students are going to go up to MIT, I think, coming up soon.
Yeah, soon is definitely Soon is having his contest up there at MIT soon, right? Soon 1, right? He runs the Micro Mouse in Region 1. He's the one who came down to Long Island with his Micro Mouse maze, right?
So there's a lot of things going on in Long Island, really,
Yep.
if you want to find out.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate you sharing all these cool activities.
Now, is this going to be sent out to people or?
Yes, as a matter of fact, once the video is put together, there's a couple of little things we do with it. And then I put it in the YouTube channel that we have for our Taenzer webinars, which I can send you the link to. And also it's going to be posted on the IEEE Humanitarian Technologies Board Taenzer Grant page, which this is one of the Taenzer Grant webinars series to help people engage more in accessibility and inclusion. So
you might want to come to one of our XCOM meetings in Long Island. And
I was there last month. I gave a talk.
Talk about this. You could get in touch with Lonnie. She's good at arranging that. Maybe you can come and you'd be one of the guests and discuss this, because
that sounds
I haven't
wonderful.
heard anybody mention this ever.
You know, this week I'm leaving tomorrow morning to go to Pennsylvania to the Villanova University, where I'm going to be there for a few days giving talks on this topic at the the Global Humanitarian Technologies Conference. So I'm hoping they'll record some of the sessions, or maybe they're available virtually. But it's such a privilege to be invited to give a talk like this in a venue like that, and to interact with other people who care so much about humanitarian technology, like all of you do, everybody here on this call. So thank you very much, Charles, for your words of wisdom. And Paula is, she's an amazing speaker and an amazing humanitarian. So we're very lucky to have her in our group.
I didn't put my picture up because I'm in my pajamas.
Well, I have my slippers on. Does that count?
Have a good night.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye
Thank
now.
you very much.
Just one second. I was about to drop and then I remembered. So,
Yeah.
Paula, Kit, is there a chance of having another talk somewhere in person? And if Paula can bring the device and we can
sure.
see it.
Yeah.
If you ever plan that, please let me know.
We would love to do that. Paula, whenever it's convenient for you.
Let's plan. I would love that. Thank you, Nirja, for mentioning that. Thank you so much.
You are in the area, right? You're not far, right?
Yes,
I'm
she's
not
right
far
here.
from.
She's right down the street from me here.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much.
All right. Yeah. So it's possible. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you for mentioning,
Thank
Nirja.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good night. Good night.
Okay. Have a
Good
good
night.
evening. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.